Well, let's get an update on the weather situation in New South Wales now.
Our reporter Ann Barker joins us from Shell Harbour, south of Wollongong on the New South Wales south coast. And we can see that the seas are stirred up behind you. What are conditions like on land around you?
Hi Scott, we're at Shell Harbour Beach now, sort of south of Wollongong. As you can see behind me, the seas are rough, but not as rough as they were this morning. But a lot of the storm activity is actually behind me. Now, we came down here hearing that the local caravan park was about to be evacuated and that high tide at 4 o'clock meant that the floodwaters would rush in. But in fact, the weather has definitely moved south. It's cleared from here. Some of the rains and heavy flooding or threat of flooding that we've seen around Wollongong and Shell Harbour has now moved south. There's still an evacuation order that's pending over the Jirara Dam a bit further south of here, near Kiama, and it will depend on the rains tonight as to whether people do have to evacuate. But further south, the SES is saying the biggest worry is around the lower Shoalhaven coastal lakes area, especially the Georges Basin, and also Gerringong. There are reports of some houses flooding around Gerringong. Certainly there are floodwaters around Lake Conjola, as you said, and the St George's Basin, but at this stage I'm not aware of evacuations. Again, I think it will depend on just how much that floodwater will rise in the hours ahead. If you look on the radar chart, there is definitely a lot of storm activity. The storm cell is further south and moving south as we speak.
And what's the latest you can tell us on the Jirara Dam?
Look, we haven't actually got there yet, but apparently every time there is an east coast low, there is a threat of evacuation. It's because of the nature of the dam, obviously its terrain and so on. There is a worry about the wall because there had been work done that suggested the wall was slightly vulnerable to flooding on this particular occasion. As I said, I think it will depend on the rains tonight as to whether that does bear out. At this stage, people haven't been evacuated, and I think people are hoping that the dam will hold up, but certainly that is one of the areas of concern.
Ann Barker, our reporter there on the New South Wales south coast. Thanks very much for the update.